Hello and welcome to today's video. Today I'm reviewing a pen from the budget Chinese fountain pen brand Jinhao. It is this model here. This is the Jinhao 65. Now obviously this is the all black version. It also comes in like a chrome version as well. So I'm going to run over the parts and features of this pen. I'm going to do a size comparison, writing sample, all that kind of stuff. Talk about a couple of pros and cons. Now this is a very simple pen. It is very much considered a minimalist pen in the fact that it doesn't have a whole lot adorning it. It's very simple, the lines are very clean, and of course this black version is very sleek as well. It is also a very slim pen, as we will see when we look at it alongside some other pens. But I think this pen bears a striking resemblance to a couple of other pens. And I'm going to show them quickly here. Firstly, the Lamy logo. Now, I'm not just saying that because it's a slim pen. I'm saying the logo because of the way that the pen posts. So the pen posts onto this little sort of like bit on the end there. And the logo and the Jinhao 65 both have a very similar end there. I also think this pen has a lot in common with the Lamy CP1, also the fact that it's sort of a sleek minimalist black design. It's got a similar kind of posting mechanism and a similar-ish kind of section. Now, as you can also see, the Jinhao 65 has a Lamy style nib, and these are compatible. You might need to like do a little bit of work to get the nib on and off more than you might on a Lamy, but as you can see, they are very similar there. Another pen I think the Jinhao is very similar to is the Khaki Mori fountain pen. It posts in a slightly different way, but I think a lot of the lines and the design of the pen in a lot of elements are very similar, but probably less similar than the Lamys, and probably less inspiration coming from the Khaki Mori than the Lamys there to the Jinhao. The Jinhao is very clearly inspired by those Lamys. So let's now talk about the parts and features of this pen. It's got a flat end, a simple metal clip which is fine and flexible. It's a almost perfectly cylindrical pen from top to bottom. It continues along, and then we get that little posting divot on the end there, and then another flat end. It is a snap cap, and you get a little step down onto a plastic ribbed section, and that stops it from being particularly slippery as well. It is well, I'm assuming it's a metal pen. I'm assuming it's like an aluminium. It's a very simple pen. As I said, it's got that Lamy style nib there, but this one is branded with Jinhao and Fine, and then a Lamy style feed there. It is a cartridge converter pen. It comes with a converter, Jinhao sort of standard, if you will. Nice threads there to lock that down. It's a simple, clean, elegant pen for those of you who like slim pens, and I know there are a number of you who swear by them. This is an interesting model, and it's also interesting because of the price point. I actually bought this for under $5 Australian, including postage. And it wrote out of the box. It wrote well out of the box. Little dry, little, quite fine, but it wrote well out of the box. So that's a big plus in a Jinhao 65 Pro column. So for the size comparison here, I've got it alongside the Lamy Safari, of course, and I'm going to put it alongside these other two Lamys on this end as well, the CP1 there and the logo there. You can see they all come in, well, these three, the 65, then the Lamy logo and CP1, do come in at a very similar length. They are shorter there than the Lamy Safari, and obviously much slimmer. Unposted, the 65 comes in just a little longer than the other two, but still a little shorter there than the Lamy Safari. You can also see the sections. The logo has a less pronounced section, but it's got that rib section, which is built into the barrel, if you will. CP1 and the Jinhao 65, they're having sort of smaller ribbed sections that come after where the pen caps. And then you can see posted, it once again comes in just a little bit longer there than the other two Lamys and significantly shorter than the Lamy Safari. So what are the dimensions of the Jinhao 65 fountain pen model here? Well, it is 134 millimeters when it's capped. It's 121 when it's uncapped, and it's 163 when it's posted. So it makes it quite a long pen. At 121, it's perhaps a little too small for some people, but with a very light end section here, capping the pen or posting the pen on the back there, you know, you do feel the weight there. I wouldn't say it's unbalanced because it's okay, but if you've got small hands, I think that might make it just a little unwieldy there at the back. I personally prefer sections that are a little heavier than this, but the plastic section here as opposed to the metal body does mean a lot of the weight is heading towards the back, shall we say. The pen, the diameter of the section around the middle there is about 8 millimeters, and around the barrel of the pen is about 9. So it is very slim. That fits into my slim category. If you watched my slim pens video a little while ago, that was before I had this pen model. This probably would have been one of the pens I covered in that. It definitely fits into that slim category. The pen weighs 15.5 grams. 9 in the body and 6.5 in the cap. So still fairly light, just I think with a little bit extra weight down in this end, it would make it a much more pleasant pen to write with, shall we say. Speaking of writing with this pen, let's do the writing sample now. I have my Clairefontaine 90 GSM paper here. So we have the Jinhao 65. This has a steel, I'm going to say Lamy style. Fine nib. The ink in this today is Mont Blanc, Irish green. A beautiful green, lovely ink, one of the ones I'm enjoying using at the moment. I have a range of these Mont Blanc inks that the original ones kind of that are getting quite a lot of use in my collection at the moment. Let's do this sample. Okay, so you can see up here and in the writing, it's not the wettest pen, but it is a very fine pen. And so for a fine, it's putting down a decent enough amount of ink for it to feel wet enough on the page when you write. There's certainly none of that dry feedback. In fact, it's fairly smooth. I wouldn't say it's buttery smooth. There's a hint of feedback on it, but it is a very fine nib also, but it is smooth enough for sure. Reverse writing is okay, but quite sharp. It is a stiff nib. You're not going to get absolutely anything out of it. You're barely putting even any more ink down. It's a stiff nib. Acts a lot, in a way, it acts quite a lot like a Lamy nib there. Quick writing. I actually think it writes pretty well. It's kept up. There's no hard starts. There's no skipping. I haven't had to do anything to this nib. As I said earlier, it wrote like this out of the box. Well, out of the plastic sleeve, one should say, with Jinhao. It's smooth. It's wet enough. It's consistent. It's reliable. Would make a great pen for those who do love slim pens, but also for those who use a lot of people use slim pens for artwork. Because this is quite fine and because it is quite consistent, it would actually make a really nice pen for sketching. Yeah, but in terms of everyday, consistent, reliable writing, it gets a lot of ticks in my book. Okay, so let's wrap this up with some pros and cons. Cons. Well, as I said, I think it's a little light in the nib end there. That's just my personal taste. I like a pen that has a little bit more weight just under the fingers to make you know you're writing with it there. And to be perfectly honest, it is a little too light and a little too slim for my taste. But that's totally, you know, totally dependent on what you like. It clearly is inspired by some of those Lamy pens, the logo and the CP1, for instance. You know, if you held these pens up together, if you weren't a complete expert, you mightn't know which was which. They are very clearly inspired, and particularly with that kind of posting system on the end there, very clearly inspired by Lamy. But, as I said, wrote beautifully out of the box with zero tuning, which is more than I can say for a lot of other pen brands. If anything, it rides a little bit dry, but not disastrously so. It has a very, very fine line. finer in fact than the Lamy Extra Fine. This is a Jinhao Fine, finer than the Lamy Extra Fine. So if that's something you're after and you're willing to do a little bit of work to get the nib on, maybe buy this for the nib. I think this is perfect for those who like slim pens and for those who like light pens. It's a very pleasant pen in that respect. But the big pro with this pen is the price. Coming in at under $5 Australian when I bought this. It's an absolute bargain. It wrote well, decent everyday writer. If this is the kind of pen you're into, this is one to look at. So thank you for watching this video about the Jinhao 65 fountain pen. I hope you found it interesting and useful. Please like and subscribe, hit the notifications button, all that good stuff. If you've got products you think I should be looking at, or if there's a way you would like to support the channel, I would love to hear from you. In the meantime, enjoy your pens, enjoy writing, and I'll talk to you soon.